with authority.
Welcome to another quarantine edition of our With Authority podcast. Larry Beal, Casey Pratt, Chris Alvarez, and our special guest star from right down the block from my house is the all-time leading scorer in Major League Soccer, Chris Wondolowski. Chris, first, thanks for your time. And why haven't I seen you at Safeway? Because we're 5 minutes away. What's going on here?
Hey Larry, thanks for having me. I do appreciate it. I like keeping my, especially my grocery and pretty much any shopping experience as short as possible. I'm in and out type of guy, especially clothes shopping, which, as you can tell, my attire is never quite up to par, and I'm always kind of lacking in that department. But it's, at least I don't spend much time on it, I guess.
Yeah, I look at the trips to Safeway and all those shopping experiences akin to a commando raid. Like, I need this, I need that. What's the shortest distance between these 2 points? I'm in and out. It's almost an athletic endeavor when I'm in there. So
absolutely, I think there has to be a lot of planning involved. Even which kind of with that Safeway, which door do you enter at? Which I think that is a big key. Do you try to start in the produce aisle, or are you going straight into the bread? But I usually the wine aisle over there. But
well, that's an interesting revelation a minute into the podcast. Okay, we'll talk more about wine. We try to do stuff a little unconventionally. So the Quakes had a nice run in the MLS's back tournament. You were in the bubble for a while. What was your first meal outside the bubble that you were really looking forward to, that you were like, man, I'm sorry we lost, but I'm so happy because I finally get to have blank?
Yes. So for me, it was just a nice steak. I needed like a nice steak, like Bailick barbecue. But for me, I'm also a junk food type of guy, where like Chipotle was also just craving, just some like random stuff like that. But I think also the sweets, my ice cream kick. There's no ice cream in Orlando, which I was hurting for.
What? What?
I mean, our team is pretty regimented. I think it was more of a team decision than it was actually finding ice cream. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
When we first talked to Tommy Thompson, right, when you guys went into the bubble, you were the first team to enter the bubble. And he really kept trying to say, like, this is a business trip. There's no amenities. It's practice. We're getting worn out. We're going right back to our room. But I know that can't possibly be the case, right? I mean, you guys had to have had some fun inside the bubble. So what were some of the activities that you guys were doing to kind of keep busy in between all the winning you guys did?
We definitely had to kind of enter our 12-year-old child, because there was a lot of downtime as well. We definitely practiced hard, and Orlando Heat is something else. But our practices were late in the evening, so we wouldn't practice till about 7 or 8 o'clock, sometimes even 9 o'clock at night. And so there's a lot of the day where we had to kind of fill, and we spent a lot of time at darts. We all kind of chipped in. We got this dart board, and we were playing all sorts of games with darts. We played some cards. A lot of guys played some FIFA. I didn't get into the FIFA much, but I was huge into the darts. And some guys got some remote control cars, and we were driving those around as well. And so we definitely enjoyed ourselves.
I was tipped off to ask you about car racing. How did you guys do the car racing with the remote control cars? Were you just running them around the hotels, or were you on the grounds? Like, what was going on with that?
So yes, I mean, it was just all around the hotel. So basically through the lobby or outside, and I think there was 10 different remote control cars. And so we had to make sure we decorated them, had our own cars out there, and being able to race them. And it was, you had to make sure you had your head on a swivel, because those cars come in fast, and they could hit you in the ankle really coming hot. But it was, you had to be on the lookout for them. But it was actually a lot of fun. And some of these guys are pretty amazing drivers.
Wondo, you've experienced a lot in your career, but this bubble was nothing anyone anticipated. So you highlighted some of the fun things you guys did, but what's the most memorable thing that you'll remember from your guys' time or your personal time in the bubble?
To be honest, I think it was a lot of those little special moments, especially for myself being the veteran older guy. I wouldn't have had those moments, especially with some of these young guys, that I would off the field. And, it was, just with life and families, you're not able to spend that time, but we were together for, I think, almost 42 days or, 40 days. And, it was pretty cool to learn some of the stories, learn the background of a lot of the guys, things that's happening over in Germany or Holland or Argentina. It was pretty cool to learn just the history of guys and, the backgrounds of them.
You referenced some of that heat, and we were watching on TV, and I was glad I wasn't there. It looked like it were like in a pool. So how difficult is it to play soccer when it's that hot and then you're drenched just physically, the exhaustion you guys and the exertion you guys are putting out there?
Oh, definitely. I think that it's definitely tough, and you are literally swimming. You can wring out your shirt and shorts, and some guys usually do, but it's also one of those things that you have to try to use as an advantage and try to take any advantage we could. We kind of pride ourselves on being fit, and so we work hard. And you mentioned two guys earlier, Tommy Thompson, Shea Salinas, two of the fittest guys, and it's pretty nice to see their engine still going in the 90th minute. And it's almost, contagious or inspirational that you see them go and you're like, all right, I have this as well. I got this, and keep it going. So
it's interesting you're talking about the weather because it's over 100 right now in the East Bay. How would you compare I think it's supposed to be like 106 today, which is insanity. Never used to get that hot here like this, to the Orlando situation. I don't know what the temps were there, but it's always so humid in the summer in Florida.
Yes. To be honest, it was, we were saying we brought the weather over with us, back with us. I think that the temperatures, there was a consecutive 10 days while we were there where it was over 90 degrees in temperature and 90 degrees humidity. And, so I do kind of compare right now. This is in Danville. I've never felt this in the Bay Area. I've not felt this, let alone the lightning the other day, the thunder and lightning. That was kind of an eye opener. Usually I'm kind of used to just the one strike in the sky, but the whole sky was lit up, and it was pretty rare to see. But I think that it was reminiscent of like an Orlando lightning storm and some that you see with that humidity or tropical weather.
Yeah, clearly Mother Nature's not happy with us at the moment. I believe it's a direct message. So if you had to play a game right now, would you rather be in Orlando with 90 or Danville 106, but maybe a somewhat drier heat, if that is even a thing?
Exactly. I mean, you're not winning either way. Either way, you're leaving the night. you're questioning what you're doing after. But I just being home, I'm just sticking with Danville. Orlando, you have to deal with bugs. Other than that, I mean, there's a whole other elements. But always stick with Danville.
I just have an IV drip going at all times, whether I need it or not right now. That's my plan. I don't know if you can do the same thing. Yeah, I can come over and I'll hook you up. Literally. Yeah.
I have no idea where he's going with that, but
no, nowhere.
16 seasons, 161 MLS goals. My favorite moment for you, though, may have came off the field. It was when you were suspended for that game against Philly, and you're in the crowd at the Ultras, and Jackson Ewell scored that goal, and you ripped off your shirt in the crowd, and you were going nuts. I mean, can you describe what that moment was like, actually taking in a game from the crowd and just the insanity of just having to sit there and watch as your team played a critical game like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's awful. I hated it. I hated watching from the stands, but I loved being able to be with the Ultras and be with the fans, though, because I really believe if I wasn't lucky enough to be playing this game, I would be a fan. I was a fan before this, and I would be there right there with them. I kind of got caught up in the moment of, I saw everyone else shirts off. I was excited. It was a huge game. Also have so much, I think, just nervous energy that I wouldn't have known what to do anyways. I would have just driven – I probably would have sit with my family or some other teammates. I would have driven them crazy, just either my talking or just my nervous energy. So it was nice to kind of let it out, have another avenue where I could express it that way.
Now I know the fans won't be around, but you are going to be playing again soon as the MLS resumes here in San Jose. I believe you play the Portland Timbers first. But, I mean, how excited are you just to be able to get back again onto the field, this time at home, not have to stay in the bubble? I'm sure you missed your family like crazy. I can't imagine being away from them for that long like that. I have 2 young daughters as well. So, I mean, just taking all of that, what are your vibes about coming back here and playing some more games at home and getting this season going some more?
Absolutely. I'm extremely excited about it. Extremely excited that they're able to piece together, the best they can. And I think that, everyone understands the protocols and understands the situations that we are in. Obviously, I would love to be in front of fans and to have a packed stadium. And that's how would love to have it, but we can't have it at that moment. But it's nice to play a game and just to be out there, and even for 90 minutes, just to be in that element. And love being able to, being able to practice right now and just trying to, make a great season, make whatever we can out of it. And I really have a belief in our team and what we can do.
I think a lot of fans are wondering this because, and correct me if the comment is wrong, but the door is closed but unlocked with regard to your future. Can you clarify that? And where do we stand right now as we talk today?
Yes, I wish I had a very clear answer. I don't right now. I think my biggest obstacle is just wanted to see what 2020 had, whatever the season had left, if there was going to be anything. And I coming into the season, I knew it was my last. I wanted it to be my last. I was fully content with it. I don't know. I just have like this taste in my mouth where I want a little bit more, especially being down in Orlando. I felt that just the fire was still there. I loved it. I wanted more of it. I couldn't get enough of practices, the guys. And so that's why, again, I just kind of want to see where this season ends up. I definitely would am content this being my last year, but I can't fully say that it is, though. I still kind of want to maybe explore, see what is in the future, see, what next year, I guess, can kind of entail. But
not only the fire, but the production's still there. So what was so key to you in that tournament and some of that comeback win? I mean, the bubble, you guys were so fun, and you weren't here to experience it, but there was a lot of vibes and buzz, and they were watching outside the stadium back in San Jose. So talk to me about just what you guys did on the field and that comeback especially.
I think a lot of it has to do where, I owe a lot of credit to Matias Almeida and his coaching staff. I think he just really has that foundation of how to play, but also embraces how to enjoy it. It's a game. And, again, we kind of joked around how we were having fun in our 12-year-old child, but it was I remember it was a game. I think that there was a bit of a time where, a couple years ago where it was a bit of a grind each season going in, but I'm loving it right now. I love the hard work. I love the practice. I love trying to grind it out. It's enjoyable again. I think that he kind of just reminded me of that, and it reminded me to enjoy these little moments as well. And so it's something I'm trying to embrace.
You don't sound like a guy who's ready to hang up his jersey anytime soon. I want to ask you about this because there's an old saying in boxing in particular where, you get paid to get punched in the face. Well, presumably you're going to punch the other guy in the face before he punches you in the face. But the old saying is once you start to think about retiring, you're already retired. But that doesn't sound like what I'm hearing from you. Like you're thinking about it, but almost like, oh, this is too much fun and fans might be back next year. And
So, yes, I've always something that, I think that's helped me as a striker is be able to compartmentalize certain things, whether I miss a chance, they will put that away. And so, again, being older, I've definitely had to think about retirement and have just a game plan of what I'm going to do in my career after. And so I've had that, but it's just kind of in a bubble, in a little shell that I know it's here, but I'm going to squeeze every ounce I can out of this. And, until I can't or until I don't want to, that's where I want to. I always said I was going to rock it till the wheels fell off and then kind of Fred Flintstone it until it crossed the finish line. And that's still kind of my plan. But, yeah. But
you're a long way from just – I don't even know what the proper analogy would be. He had the rock wheels. You're moving much faster than than his tires were. Just 161 goals, leads Major League Soccer, 4-time All-Star, 16 seasons, age 37. When we had Tommy Thompson on, he said he was stunned by your level of fitness when you guys first started working out. So, what's the difference between age 37 and 38?
Exactly. It is just a number. And, I've been waiting for it to kind of hit. I do start feeling it. I notice it more after games, I guess, than I have in the past where I'm always just ready to go the next day, like let it go, here we go. And so I think that's probably the only place where I notice the age aspect of it. Again, I feel very fortunate. I've been able to run. I always kind of compared myself to a VW bug that's just stuck in second gear. I've never been the fastest, but I can run the same pace for a long time. And you just put me in that second gear, I'm good to go. But it's something that I've been fortunate enough to have, but I also use it as a tool and as a weapon. And so it's something that I need to have.
I've always thought of myself as a Jaguar, meaning I'm in the shop a lot. I'm pretty much broken down. A lot of electrical problems, and I just didn't even really get rolling out of the driveway a lot.
Hey, you look good though. You look great.
Those 1 or 2 days where you're going right, you're so fast and efficient.
Save that clip right there. That's the one we're gonna use. That's the soundbite.
I have to ask, you compared yourself to a VW Bug. We're actually the same age. Did you ever watch Herbie the Love Bug as a child? Herbie the race car?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, see, Herbie, I always wanted to get a VW Bug and have a Herbie because Herbie was the man. So, I think that's a great analogy for you. And, what are we looking at, though, from like a family standpoint as far as your playing career goes? Are your daughters, are your wife, are your dad who coached you, are these people weighing in and trying to help influence your decision, or are they're happy leaving it up to you when you're ready to go?
So I'm very fortunate to have them as basically my inner circle because they keep it real for me, and I love that. And so especially my wife, my dad, my brothers. And so I love bouncing off with me. And my brothers are the first ones to tell me, yeah, I am slow. You're getting old. But they're like, no, you still can play though. You can go for another year or so. And my wife as well. My wife just is more like, hey, as long as you're going to be okay down the road, then and you're going to be healthy. Go enjoy it. And so it is very nice to have that, that inner circle to depend on.
No, I don't know. I don't want to force
He's
you.
He's not retiring.
Statement here, but if you were to say you could get one more year, you get the fans back, you could have your going away tour, everyone could be at the games. I know they all come to the games anyways, being the hometown kid. How perfect would that be if you can get that scenario?
You're definitely speaking some amazing scenarios, and that's my dream one right there. And I would love nothing more than that. And I think that's what it is that kind of presses me on and makes me want to go. And so, again, just kind of all has to kind of all be in line and head right there, and also make sure that I can produce and help the team in any way I can. I just don't want to be out there. Basically like a mascot or being able to wave. I want to be able to help produce the team win a championship as well.
You talked about your youngsters. What's it like when they watch you on TV or there are videos of them looking at, hey, daddy's on TV? Is that something that's pretty cool for you?
Yes, absolutely. I love it. And so I have a 6-year-old, and she is all about sports, all about the game. She knows everything. She knows every player. She knows everything. I have a 4-year-old who wants nothing to do with sports or could care less. She's into makeup or trying to dress her stuffed animals, but it's kind of funny just seeing those two. But they will definitely watch and are out there. And it's my daughter loves Christian Espinoza. I had to go ask for his autograph for her, and so that was kind of an embarrassing, humbling moment, but it was awesome. And she has it hung up in her room, and she loves it.
You kind of led into my next question. I was going to ask if you were her favorite player, there was someone else, because you see all these athletes, they'll be like, Drew Brees' kids like some other, like, he's my favorite quarterback, and it's like, your dad's Drew Brees. So is it Christian Espinoza, or are there other guys? Like, where do you fit on the player ranking?
So I think I'm way extremely low on the totem pole as well, because one, she loves Christian Espinoza. And then she just made her first she plays Mustang and made her first team. And so she got to pick numbers. She did pick number 8, but she picked number 9. And I asked why number 9, and she said she liked Danny Houston. She really liked the way he played. And I'm like, all right, well, hey, I'm glad 8's at least in there. So I think I'm in her top 3. So that's I'm taking that as a win.
I actually like Christian Espinoza also. Could you get me his autograph? If you get one, you get 2. What's the difference?
Right, exactly. He was very nice about it. So, that is
Yeah, please do that. So I want to come back to something you mentioned earlier, because you don't view yourself as a guy with great top-line speed. and you were actually recruited by UCLA to run track. Did you ever think about what if I would have taken that path? What was your race? What was your best? What was a mile?
I was the mile. Yes, I was a mile. I ran a 4:15 mile, 4 minute 15 second mile, and I also ran the 800. I was at 154 for the 800, and so soccer was kind of always a passion. I played baseball growing up, and I actually loved baseball. And so my junior year of high school, I kind of had to decide soccer or baseball. I chose soccer, and then I got talked into doing track. And so track was, I guess, more of a hobby that I ended up being better at. And so I don't know. I have thought about that. I always kind of did wonder if I took that path. That being said, I love that. I think it was a life lesson for myself as well, that I took something I was passionate about. I followed that dream, and I was able to go for it. Chico State was the only school that recruited me, and it was Division II, and that was the only school that recruited me for soccer. And I took that opportunity, and to be able to kind of make the path I have from there, I makes it a little bit more special.
Yeah, we have a consumer guy, Michael Finney. I think he might have gone to Chico State. He often refers to it as the Harvard of the West.
I'm jumping on board with that one. I mean, I haven't heard that, but I'm hoping it catches on.
Yeah, I think it came up at a party one time. That you didn't go to any parties at Chico State, did you? You're pretty locked in.
Never. I have no idea what those look like.
So you didn't even hear the noise outside your dorm room or anything like that, or you just kind of.
Well, not the library. Maybe past one or two on my way there, but no, I thoroughly enjoyed my time at Chico, and it was a great time, and I have lifelong friends, and it was something I wouldn't change for the world.
Hey, Casey, is it possible in the future that we could hook our guests up to a lie detector while we're doing the podcast? Not all the answers we're getting here are 100% fact. That's just, I don't know, it's just kind of, I don't know, just what I'm feeling.
Yeah, I think we could arrange that. The background noise might be a little much, though, because you'd hear it so much with all of our guests.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look back right now at your career, I mean, you were drafted to your hometown team. I know things weren't always easy. It was tougher in Houston, and here you are, the all-time MLS goals leader. You even have a street named after you. So, I mean, just how crazy is it? Like, when was the moment where you were growing up where you kind of just knew this was it? Like, this was your path, this was your calling. And did you ever think in a million years it would get to this point? I mean, World Cup, Wondo way, etc.
It still hasn't sunk in, or even sinking in, that I'm living my dream. I remember going to Clash games at Spartan Stadium, and I remember, watching them and just thinking how cool it was. I remember being in college and playing at Spartan Stadium thinking this is where the pros play. This is, I'm stepping onto their field. And it was, a friendly against the Earthquakes when I was, on an amateur team. These are the things that I couldn't even fathom when I was younger. And now I get to literally live the dream. And I think it's going to be one of those where I'm telling my grandkids about it, and it's just going to finally sink in and hit me like a ton of bricks. But I don't know. I've definitely tried to enjoy every single moment along the way of it, though.
Now, here in the Bay Area, I mean, like, your name is synonymous with soccer, but who are some of the people that you like to watch in other sports here in the Bay?
Oh, I'm a huge sports fan. I love all sports. And so, I mean, obviously Steph Curry, the Warriors, watching Clay, big Clay Thompson, Draymond, especially when Iggy was here, I was a huge Iggy fan. I grew up with Barry Bonds. I'm a Giants fan. I like the A's, huge A's fan, but Giants just for me. Raiders over Niners, but still love Jerry Rice, Joe Montana when I was growing up. They were still amazing, but the Raiders, once they came back to the Bay, my family had season tickets, and so we're going to theirs. And so, Rich Gannon, and again, when Jerry Rice back the second time, but it was, memories that I always have, and Tim Brown and guys like those that kind of helped embody, guys I looked up to. And, even Warriors back then, it was Chris Mullin, TMC, Chris Mullin, Tim Hardaway, Mitch Richmond, guys that I looked up to. And I remember meeting Chris Mullen, and it was a Danville guy, and it was St. Isidore's church. And it was, you know, something that I'm just in awe of. And it's amazing that I'm able to see him now and he knows my name. It's still crazy to me, and something that again, still can't fathom, but it's pretty cool.
In that same light, you've traveled all over the place and been to some great events and venues, but as a fan, is there a place that you would either like to watch a game or a team, or like what's on the bucket list of sports items that you would like to see as a fan and enjoy?
Oh, that's a good question. You know, I just have so many great memories. I don't even know what to call it now, but Oakland Coliseum, O.co, just going to the Raider games there. But, you know, again, Candlestick, you know, also AT&T now. But, you know, I think that I love the historical ones. I've not been to Fenway yet. I've been to Wrigley. So I think Fenway would be a really cool one to experience. I find it awesome that we played at Yankee Stadium. And so not being able to watch a baseball game is kind of weird, but I literally walk out pregame and I go to shortstop and pretend like I'm taking a ground ball. You know, it's just kind of cool. Like I'm sitting at Yankee Stadium, you know, it's just something I have to do. And
Yeah. Fenway's great. Definitely should go. I haven't been to Wrigley, but one of mine is like to see a college football game in the South, and they have some of those 100,000 plus fans, but you guys have had some great atmospheres as well in the MLS. I mean, some of those, what's it like to play in front of 90 to 100,000 screaming fans?
It's awesome. I love it. You know, obviously I wanted to be home fans. I wanted to be rooting for you, but you could be rooting against me. If that atmosphere is there and it's like almost a palpable buzz, and there is, it's just, you feel that energy, and it's amazing. And, you know, it's going down to Azteca Stadium. I think that was probably one of the biggest stadiums, and also Rose Bowl, where just the loudest, and just feeling that buzz and just seeing it packed to the brim and seeing the passion that the fans have. It was something amazing. It really was.
The Rose Bowl is an incredible venue. I mean, you just sit there and it's almost surreal how beautiful it is. And then when it's filled. So let's talk World Cup. And you played for Team USA. And why aren't we better after all this time? I mean, you see the success of the women's team, and I know it's not an apples to apples comparison, but why can't we get a program where we're at least more competitive? It seemed like we were for a little bit, and then
No, absolutely. And I think that it's something that we do need to address. And I think, you know, one, I do believe that the game worldwide has gotten better. There's not necessarily the haves and have-nots. You know, they're the top tier. You know, there's not just the 4 nations that are going to be competing. I think that it is a little bit more equal across the board. But that being said, I think that we need to address the youth system. I think that's where it starts. I think that, to be honest, I think we need to start back at square one. I think that it's kind of been done the wrong ways. And, you know, I think that a lot of blame has gone to pay to play, and I think that there's a lot of blame in there, but I think that it's everywhere. And I think that where we find it is that I think the Americans will always have the ability and the capability to do the athleticism to do amazing things. I think for the soccer aspect, we need to sharpen up our minds. I think that we need to have the understanding of the spatial awareness, of the spacing, of knowing where to go, the tactical views about knowing what to do and how to play different formations, different styles, different everything. And I think that you have to be able to adapt in different ways, but also have a signature, have something that is, you know, a coach where this is how we are going to play, and develop it from the start where we become the best at that. And that's how we are. And, you know, we do need to have that confidence / arrogance where we need to implement the best to become the best. And this is how we're going to do it. And again, I know it's a lot easier said than done, because the actions are what actually need to be taking place. But I do think that that's where the biggest steps can be made.
I mean, I know it's a little difficult, even though we have 330 million people in the country. If they turn on the TV, they see LeBron or Steph or an NFL player, or, you don't see Christian Pulisic. He's not on the list. He will be at some point because he's going to be a great player, but he has to go to Europe and, to really become a big deal. So I hope that can get squared away. But let me ask you this then. You're a striker, so you'd probably, if you got the ball around the box, you'd shoot it. But if there was one player at any point in their prime that you could call a teammate and you'd pass the ball to, who would you want to pass the ball to with the confidence that we need a goal right now? I'm going to give it up to Messi or Ronaldo or Pele in his prime or Beckham, or, we could go down a list of 100 guys, but I only know about 4 soccer players.
Yeah. No worries. I think any of those guys in the prime, are putting it away. It's amazing. I think it's almost, a 3-pointer to an amazing, a quality NBA player. They have that. But I'm going to go with a teammate of mine that I would always that I played with is Clint Dempsey. Just ice in his veins, just slotted. And, I think Landon is probably the best, best American to have played the game, and rightfully so. And I'm a huge Landon fan and always will be. But something about Clint Dempsey, just a closer, just ice in his veins, and something that,
You taking Clint Dempsey over Messi?
I would take Messi again. I haven't been his teammate, so I haven't seen him in the locker room. But I've only seen actually experienced the Clint have it. But if I could pick, I would pick Messi. Or he's not bad. He's pretty good at this game. He's
decent. He's short, but
right. He's very short, so probably write him off. One thing actually about that, and I think, just to kind of on the last question, I think that's going to be huge is in 2026 is that the North America host a World Cup. And I think that you mentioned we had a bit of a glimpse of hope when, and I think that a lot of it had to do was the catalyst was the 94 World Cup when it was hosted in America. And I really think for myself, I was an 11-year-old and I remember sneaking to Santa, with my dad. My dad took me. It wasn't mine, but sneaking to Santa Clara University and watching through a fence Brazil practice. And I think for myself, I think that's really where it became a passion for me. It became a love. It became something that, and then watching those games and even just seeing the games at Stanford Stadium, not going to them, but just seeing them on TV and just having that relationship. I think that it's going to be a big step for United States soccer is that 2026. And I'm hoping that it can kind of spur it on like it did in 94.
Well, that's a great place to wrap it up because Team USA has 5-6 years in order to get it together. And hopefully by that point, there will be the program in place and the clear steps to get back to. It's going to be hard to beat Brazil or Germany or whatever, but on any single day, it's a doable thing.
Absolutely. And that's the great thing about these tournaments and just about, how wonderful it is, the World Cup. I say I love it. I compare it to the NCAA as the greatest annual tournament. I think World Cup's just the greatest tournament. It's they're amazing. You always see special things that happen and memories every time they play. It's truly a special.
Well, best of luck on the balance of this season with the Earthquakes and next season as well, because you're not retiring. I could say, this is confirmation for me. I don't know. Let's take a vote. You don't get to vote because you're on the fence. Casey, do you think he's retiring based on what we heard the last half hour?
No way.
Chris?
That's a no.
That's a no. All right. So so far it's 3-0. We should let you vote since it is kind of like your career. So you want to vote? What do you want to vote?
See, I want to vote. I want to keep going. I just got to make sure everything is in line. But
what do we need to do? Who do we need to negotiate? We'll get it done today.
Well, it's not even numbers. It's just making sure making sure. I want to talk to the coach, make sure that I am in his plans. I want to make sure we finish well. I want to make sure, I don't want to be taking minutes from guys that that we need minutes and things of that nature.
You're being too modest, Wondo. They put you in late in these games. I'm screaming at the TV, we need a goal, put Wondo in, and then you come in and score like 30 seconds later. You're still the man.
I think that just shows how smart you are, though. No, I mean.
There is that. Thank you for recognizing my soccer expertise.
The Jaguars out of the shop today.
Yeah. Yeah, car's out of the shop. Wondo, I look forward to whatever you decide in the future, and we'll see you at Safeway, Tassajara, right there. See you in the wines. We didn't even get you. What's your favorite wine? Give a plug to your wine. There's a sponsorship opportunity waiting right here, right now.
Oh, I love Duckhorn. Duckhorn is anything Duckhorn.
Excellent. All right. I'll see you in the wine section.
With authority.